Hey everybody, this is Arun and welcome to Oracle Fusion Unplugged. This is episode 2 and I'm very happy to be here today with my friend Amod. Amod, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Arun. Hey, everybody. This is Amod Joshi. Glad to be here. I've been a long time listener of Arun's podcasts, webcasts, videos, and many presentations for that matter. So super excited to be here for sure, Arun. So thanks for having me. Look forward to discussing a variety of topics today.
Awesome. Amod, do you want to talk a little bit about where you are currently located, Oracle Ace as well?
hmm Sure. Thanks. So I've been working in Oracle technology area for about 22 years now. So I've worked in India for around 7 years, and then I was in US for a decade, and then I moved to Canada. So it's been more than 5 years. I'm in Canada. So I work from Canada for different types of clients, pretty much into technology space of Oracle since beginning and even today on the ERP side primarily to some extent, and it was mixed bag of techno-functional areas to some extent. These days, I'm pretty much on the Fusion side and some of the OCI tools that we are using for a variety of activities. So, yeah.
Yeah, you focus mostly on Oracle Fusion, right? You don't work
Mhm.
on Oracle EPM, right?
Yeah, we do have EPM. We have many people working on it, but it's a different group. I'm not
Yeah,
much into that. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Lucky you.
I but yeah, I know the pain points. Certainly, I know.
It's
So yeah,
improving. It's improving.
it's improving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm very excited to talk to you today because there are a couple topics I really wanted to cover. One of them is obviously private agent factory. We'll get into it in a bit. We also have the new private AI container services that I wanted to talk about, and then a few other things, right? So, folks, if you don't know, Amod is an Oracle Ace Pro, and I'm also an Oracle Ace Pro. I always encourage people to be part of the Oracle ACE program. A lot of visibility for yourself, and obviously there are other things, that helps you in your career growth. Sharing knowledge with others too, right? So, what's your perspective about Oracle ACE, and maybe talk a little bit about when you started as an Oracle ACE.
Absolutely. So I certainly look at it as a very, very good program, very good initiative from Oracle side. It's not only a program that gives you a chance to be in the limelight, let's just say that, but it encourages you to learn new things and practice variety of latest tools and technologies, and also encourages you to share that with the community. That's the important part. So I started my ACE journey. It's been probably over 4 years now, if I'm not wrong. Like naturally, at that time they used to have only associate, pro, and director levels. Recently, they introduced the apprentice level, where if you're not really much into content creation or sharing today, you can get into that journey by being an apprentice. So that's a good segue to get into the program. So yeah, and it comes with a lot of benefits which I really like. Like you do get your own cloud account, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI account. With every year, you do get $5,000 worth of credits for that. Naturally, this is only for ACE Pro and
Mm,
ACE
yeah.
directors, but for associates also, there are definitely other benefits. So yeah,
Yeah. When you share your knowledge, you obviously want to be confident that what you're sharing works. So you spend a little bit of time experimenting and figuring out how it works. You usually read your blogs on Medium. So definitely getting that chance to, reward it for what you're sharing. We
hmm
obviously share even otherwise, right? But
exactly.
also the fact that you're getting rewarded and recognized for that is good.
Absolutely.
Okay, and one thing I always say, during our CANOTUG meetings, I keep saying this: we want more aces in Canada. I know Hosam just became a ace, so that gets it to close to, I don't know, 29, maybe 29 Oracle aces in Canada.
Exactly.
We could do much
Do
better.
much more. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So yeah, if you're into, looking forward to becoming an Oracle Ace, reach out. You're happy to help you with your Oracle Ace journey. All right. And let's talk about two other initiatives that you're part of. You're obviously part of OATUG
hmm
and you're also part of CANOTUG. Maybe talk a little bit
Absolutely.
about what you do at OATUG, and then we can obviously talk about CANOTUG after that.
Definitely. So I've been involved with OATA like for many years now. It's been probably since 2016 or 2017. I've been attending their conferences and other online activities and all. I've even presented on a bunch of occasions. I was nominated and I was lucky to get the Emerging Leaders Award for the
Mm,
year from OATUG. That's
yeah,
mainly because I'm part of the committee, and we also do many activities of mentoring, finding the mentees, and giving them a platform. So yeah, I mean, so OATUG has been quite a presenting.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk about CANOTUG. So, we covered Oracle ACE, but if you go to ace.oracle.com, you can find more details about the Oracle ACE program. It's a good community, great community. A lot of Oracle ACEs these days because of the Oracle ACE Apprentice program. One thing, it might be a little controversial, but I do want to ask you this. The content being shared, do you feel like the quality of the content has gone down in some cases?
So I would say yes to some extent, and that might be because maybe people are overusing AI, if I'm not wrong, because it doesn't feel organic anymore in many cases, and then you see a repetitive pattern, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And, I have observed the same thing. These days, when you go into, let's say, LinkedIn, you'd see the same type of posts. And I don't know, you can make out the fact that it is written by AI. So, yes, you're sharing the content, which obviously we appreciate, but also you'll know that it is not you sharing the content, it is written by AI. Both sides, right? We want content, but you also want good content and something that you have tried out and you've created yourself.
I would like to add one thing that ACE program managers are doing in that case is, and that's really a good thing, that they have started using AI to detect if a blog, an article, or any content for
Mm,
that
mm.
matter has been created using AI. And if that's true, they will give you the points accordingly. And you may not get high points for that content. And they will inform you also that, hey, we have detected that you've been using more AI. Make sure you reduce the usage of AI. It has to be pretty organic. So hopefully that will come handy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay. So now that you talked about that, what are the different ways you can get points? One of them is obviously sharing articles and blog posts. The other thing is obviously, if you have a YouTube channel, you can post videos about anything related to Oracle. And I think this is another thing I don't know if many people know, which is you can share anything related to Oracle, right? Because I share a lot. I share things about EPM. I share things about Fusion. So anything that you do in Oracle, you can share.
Absolutely.
And I think there's more weightage if you do presentations and webinars. So yeah.
Also, if you are very active on Cloud Customer Connect, because many of
Mm,
us are,
yeah,
and you are seeking for answers or for many questions, and people are sharing those, and if you are also answering those questions and the answer is accepted answer, you do get points for that as well.
topics. Cloud Customer Connect is one of the best communities. I think the best initiatives from Oracle. I remember when I first joined, this is maybe 2015, 16, I don't know. It felt like, just another platform where you ask questions, but it has grown into a really good community where you get to learn, right? You get to
You
learn
do.
from others. And
That's true.
obviously you can
It's a very
share.
well connected, uh,
Yes.
closely knit user group, user
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
uh, and no nonsense. It's Oracle specific, and the good part is many Oracle representatives are actively part of it, and they are also answering the questions. It's not just the end users or the customers, which
Correct.
is a good
Correct.
thing.
So let's talk about CANOTUG.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'm sure like many people don't know about CANOTUG. We're pretty new, right? So just like OITech, we do have CANOTUG, which is Canadian Oracle Technology User Group. And luckily we both are part of the board. We've been doing a lot of webinars, in-person sessions mostly in Toronto area, but we are trying to expand into other cities as well. So very, very happy to have this initiative going in Canada as well. And you can see Mr. Amod here. Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about our initiatives as well, and from your perspective, what we do here.
Absolutely. So very glad, very happy to be part of CANOTUG, and thanks to Arun for making that happen and taking the initiative to first of all, encourage all of us and start this user group, Pan Canada. So because we do come from our background being in different user groups before we started CANOTUG, so it's a good thing to have, because now we already knew what kind of activities we may want to do. So really good to see how we are progressing, like the education sessions, or even the in-person connections, and monthly meetings, as well as now Resell will think of starting a magazine and all those things. So yeah, definitely. And the good thing is it's a mixed bag of uh, professionals. It's not only one technology. It's not only one product. So that's really a good thing.
Yeah, I think we had sessions about OCI. You have done sessions on Private Agent Factory. We have sessions on EPM, Oracle Fusion. Sessions are not just focused on Oracle Fusion and EPM, you know. Just, so
Certainly.
yeah. So I'm very excited. So if you're in Canada and if you want to be part of this initiative, please reach out to us. We obviously need more volunteers. It takes a lot of a lot of effort to have a non-profit group running. So obviously looking for some help and volunteers here. It doesn't mean that you need to be in Canada. If you're willing to help, if you're from other countries, that's fine too.
Certainly.
Okay, so you mentioned about this getting a private AI services container, right? I saw the article from this gentleman, Harry Snart. I saw this on LinkedIn. Um, so maybe we talk about this and then go into
Hmm.
private agent factory. That makes
Sure.
sense.
Yep, that makes
Okay.
sense. Absolutely. So this is a recent addition from Oracle side, if I'm not wrong. I'm also kind of new to this product particularly, but I also came across this very recently, and it looks like so it's a first of all it's a free service, free as in they're not charging you to download or install this and use it, but certainly you are going to most likely deploy this on one of the containers in OCI or one of the compute instances in OCI on your side, and naturally you might be having some extra charges, or some you might be paying for that compute instance, and that cost will always be there. It's the same case for private agent factory, by the way. So these two products, basically the products that by themselves are free. Coming to private AI services container, basically it's your own private LLM tool. So it provides you a good number of LLMs which reside inside your compute, and whenever you use any of and they are REST enabled, so you can use it from anywhere. You don't really have to use them only for, let's say, private agent factory. You can use it for anything else because they are REST enabled, and that technically becomes your own AI provider. And your whatever queries you throw towards those LLMs, or whatever questions or whatever data you provide them to act upon, that data doesn't leave your realm. So it doesn't leave your OCI tenancy or your private area. So your data remains safe. That's the main intent behind this.
If you're like an Oracle Fusion customer, you care about your data privacy, and obviously, when you work with other LLMs like Claude or OpenAI, um, you know, you always worry about, hey, what's happening with my data, right? So this
That's
is
true.
more like a way to contain whatever information that you exchange with LLMs. If you're an Oracle Fusion customer, you're already on OCI, and this is going to be in OCI. So this should give you a bit more comfort in knowing that this is part of OCI, right?
Exactly. Now, having said that, there are two aspects to this. Uh, so let's just say we are not using this product, but we are using the Gen AI service that Oracle offers as part of the OCI Gen AI offering. Even that service secures your data. Your data never leaves your Oracle OCI realm. The only thing is that you would be paying for the usage of the of those LLM models, because there will be token cost and there will be actual Gen AI usage cost. In this case, you reduce, or probably you eliminate that to a much extent, because you're not paying for AI use per se. You are just paying for your compute usage.
So one question that comes to my mind when you talked about OCI generative AI is, are all the models that OCI Generative AI uses hosted in OCI, or are there some models like Gemini or something else, OpenAI maybe, um,
Mhm.
that is not hosted in OCI?
Right. So they have a published a list of models which are offered via OCI Gen AI, and they are completely safe because they are hosted on OCI and they don't leave your data doesn't leave your area. But then if you are not using those, then there is a chance that your data might be leaving the OCI space.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So now that we talked about, I was
This
reading
is
about.
fairly new. This particular container, private container, is fairly new, just a few months old, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There are a couple of blogs. And I'll share this in the video description as well. So there's this one which I was reading through, and this was published 1 day ago, so
Yeah.
fairly
I
new.
also came across this one, same one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this one had some really good examples. Um, this describes the large language model service. Talks about, you can run the models privately. You obviously get to choose your model. Yeah. So how do you get started with it on OCI? So there's obviously configurations that you need to do, right?
Certainly.
So
Yep.
as we all know, Private Agent Factory, once it is set up, it's really good and easy to use, but configuring that takes time. So this has all of those steps to configure that. And then I think he's also talks about as an example to, yeah, how to test the endpoint locally. So it talks
Mhm.
about that. And then at the end, it talks about connecting this service to Private Agent Factory. So I think this is a good blog or article for everyone to read.
And the good part is the private LLMs, the private AI container that they are offering. Yeah, over here you can see it basically exposes open AI compatible API
Yeah,
endpoint,
yeah.
and that's really a good thing because Private Agent Factory has when you configure the LLM uh, provider, you do have OpenAI compatible as a dedicated option.
So now Private Agent Factory has its own configurations, and I'm glad you have a blog that explains that because it's just
Sure,
too many steps and to do
absolutely.
that. Okay, so this is fairly new. I think everybody should keep an eye, watch out for this one. So now let's talk about Private Agent Factory. So Amod did a webinar for CANOTUG, meetup that we had. I was really happy with the webinar, and I think Private Agent Factory is one of those tools that um, anybody can. If you have worked with, I don't know, Claude, ChatGPT, agents a little bit, you know the terminologies and things like that, you could work with it, right?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I'll leave it up to you to talk a little bit about the
Sure,
Private Agent Factory.
definitely. So Private Agent Factory, again, it's a no cost platform. There's no cost for you to use it or deploy it or anything like that. So the product doesn't have any cost to it. But naturally, if you're deploying it on OCI compute, same thing. You might be paying for your compute cost, but you don't really have to have it on your OCI compute. You can deploy this on your own Linux machine or your Linux server, or let's just say you have multiple use cases. First of all, you have Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse sitting in OCI. If that's your main, source of data, then yeah, go ahead, deploy it on OCI. Why not? Because then they are tightly coupled. They sit in the same realm, and then you're happy your data doesn't leave your site. But let's say if you have on-prem database or e-business suite, right, which is on your on-prem infrastructure, you can deploy Private Agent Factory on those servers, and you can make them talk to each other. Again, your data doesn't leave that space, and you still have a full-fledged uh, AI platform which lets you build different agents using that data, right? I
Mm,
mean, so it's pretty flexible. It doesn't have to be a cloud deployment. It can be even your Linux server deployment. You can even deploy it on your own Linux machine, your personal machine technically, or even Macs probably, because they essentially are Unix systems. So I think they do have images for those if you really want to deploy it like that. What I had done, and I still have it, is mainly I deployed it on OCI because I wanted to, yeah, not maintain a separate hardware for it. So it's pretty straightforward if you want to install it from OCI Marketplace, and that's what I did. It's not that straightforward, I would say, but at least it's much simpler than you doing it on your on-prem infrastructure or Linux infrastructure, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I did. hit a bunch of hiccups and problems, but then yeah, they were easily fixable, so I could get it working.
I did not know that you could install this on
Hmm.
Prem or even on your Linux
Hmm.
machine, so Mac,
Hmm.
right? That's new information for me, which is good.
Hmm.
Good to know.
Yep.
I think the best I liked is it is so easy to use, right? Everything is so easy to configure.
Exactly. Yep.
So I want to switch to your blog. So if you are trying to configure Oracle database private agent factory, I highly recommend reading this blog because it lists every step that that you need to do, because there are a lot of steps. I'm sure Oracle documented this, but it's good to see that you've gone through this and documented it. Obviously helps us. Yeah. So what was your experience? I know, when I saw it in the webinar, it was pretty cool. I have
Hmm.
tried it,
Right.
uh, but your first experience in terms of using Private Agent Factory, and two, have you used it in a real business case, or are you still exploring?
Right. So uh, I'm still exploring, by the way. I'm yet to use it for a specific business case. I do have a bunch of ideas in my mind, and I'm thinking of putting them, on that canvas, but I don't have a end-to-end working agent. I've tried a bunch of small agents, just mainly to try out all the features, all the tools that this platform offers. But when it comes to an end-to-end workflow in real case, I still don't have one up and running over there. But if we have any such requirement, it's absolutely a fabulous platform, I would say. Like that. And to answer your first question, what was my experience? It is, as they are advertising, it's really a no code platform. Like it's not even low code. It's, you don't see a single line of code, technically
Yeah.
speaking. All you need to know is what is a LLM? How do you use LLMs? What kind of prompt? So mainly prompt engineering, right? What kind of prompts are you feeding? Because that's what is going to direct the LLM to do the right job. Otherwise, you're just it will
Yeah.
be lost, yeah, in some loop. So uh,
Right.
yeah, right. So otherwise, it's a really good platform because I could compare it with Fusion AI Agent Studio,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example,
Mhm.
because now Fusion AI Agent Studio is a, I won't say it's a new offering anymore. It's been since late last year, I would say. But what Oracle has done with that platform is they have created your own technical space inside Fusion, which is completely based on the concepts of AI, right? And then you have so many tools, REST tool, MCP tool. You can talk to your own business objects, which basically is Fusion data, and you can even integrate that with Teams or Slack, your agents, and then you can even talk to third party systems using MCP or REST and everything. So pretty much similar thing you can think of, but the platform is not in Fusion AI, Fusion, but it's on OCI. That's what this platform is. So it's like a brother, I would say, or sister of Fusion AI Agent Studio, which is not in Fusion. That's it. That's it. And naturally, there are differences. What you can do with Fusion tools and non-Fusion tools, but the thought, I believe, is pretty much a similar thought, that we need to have a neutral platform sitting on OCI, which lets you build all your AI agents, and they can talk to a number of systems using these tools.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think what I liked is, I'm just showing this screenshot here, but you just drag and drop components into that canvas, right?
Absolutely.
Connect the different canvas, you set up the parameters and things like that. So it's pretty cool. And I know you mentioned during the webinar that once it is set up, it is also REST enabled, right? You could
Yes.
invoke this using REST
Yes.
API, right?
That's right. Your agent itself becomes REST enabled, and you can invoke it from somewhere else.
I definitely have to try it out. Um, okay. Is there any relationship with this and Select AI?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Good that you brought it up. So Select AI itself, by itself, is a very huge, a very great concept that Oracle introduced back in 23 AI database itself, and now it's there in 26 AI as well. So Select AI by itself, you can thoroughly configure it on your 26 AI database. It doesn't matter if you're using Private Agent Factory or not, but if you're using Private Agent Factory, it's even better because you don't need to write code to configure Select AI anymore, because Private Agent Factory, it just gives you all the UI options. You just do bunch of configurations from drag and drop options, and your entire configuration of select AI that you used to do with APIs and all those things, it's now ready in your database. So and you get to use that in your AI agents that you are going to build using this platform. So yeah, it's pretty tightly integrated in that.
And you create like a separate schema or user for Select AI.
Yes.
If I
Yes. So for private agent factory itself,
yeah,
it will create a different schema in your
right.
database. It needs, so the one of the primary requirements for you to to have it up and running, the private agent factory, is that you should have a 26 AI database running, because that's the backbone of the private agent factory.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's some hands-on lab as well. So,
Hmm.
if anybody wants to try it out, they can definitely try it out. And this is available on OCI Marketplace, correct? And you can just
That's
go
right.
and install it from OCI Marketplace and start configuring. Uh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'll leave the link, all of these links in the podcast description as well, so everybody can use this. I know another thing that we both have been working on is querying data from Oracle Fusion, right? So if you look at Oracle BI Publisher data model, you know the pain of working with SQL and writing SQL queries in there. And there are a lot of tools out there which helps you with connecting to Oracle Fusion and executing the queries as well. So I know you're working on a plugin, VS Code
A
plugin
VS Code extension. Yep.
extension. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. So maybe talk a little bit about that, and I will show what I've been working on as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I'm working on is a VS Code extension that will be available once I publish on VS Code Marketplace. It's a free extension, because VS Code Marketplace is basically the version I'm releasing is just a base 1.0 version, not having any bells and whistles.
Yeah.
So it's basically a pretty basic, I would say, extension which will let you connect to any of your Fusion environments, and then you can write your own queries, and you can run those queries over there, and then it will also store all your query history in a panel, and you can use it later. And also, I'm making it AI enabled. So because, as you know, VS Code itself has your own AI chat, which is GitHub Copilot basically, and you can use any model that you might have procured or you may have subscription to. But then there is a way of enabling any of the extension TypeScript that you write for VS Code extensions. There are a couple of libraries and couple of constructs you can include, so that those extensions are AI enabled. So basically, that AI in the GitHub Copilot AI can talk to your extension
Mm-hmm.
simply. So I'm enabling that. With that, what's going to happen is, and I'm testing it out. So you if you don't want to write the query, you
Mm.
can take help of GitHub Copilot. Ask,
Yeah.
okay, I want this data, build a query for me. It may or may not build right query. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite possible. It may hallucinate, and it may sometimes show you even EBS tables and all those things which don't exist in Fusion. But most other times it may do a good job. So, and then it will run that query for you in the background using this extension, and it will present the results. And at the same time, you can open the extension, and it's like a SQL developer UI. You can put that query, copy that query that it's showing you, and run it yourself and get the whole data out. And then there is a export to CSV option I've given, through which you can just have your data exported. But yeah, but that's pretty much it with the features that I'm right now, putting in there, because it's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
so for now, that's going to be my base version.
Yeah. It's always helpful when we have tools like this because when we initially started, it was difficult. And I always used to wonder why Oracle has SQL Developer. Why is there's no SQL Developer equivalent for
True.
Fusion,
That's true.
right? But anyways, we have a lot of tools. So I'll show you what I've been working on.
And I'm more excited about your tool because I've seen that,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of features, a lot of good features.
Because I know the pain of,
Of course,
yeah,
of
because
course.
I know the pain of writing SQL. Ours is more desktop tool, not a VS Code extension. So this is fully built from ground up. Uh, I've not included AI features yet into the tool right now. But similar to SQL Developer, you could connect to any Oracle Fusion instance. You could use basic authentication, SSO. I'm sure you have the same
So
features.
yeah, I just have basic auth right now. I'm working on SSO. It takes time, especially in VS Code. It's a little different to
Yeah,
implement SSO. Yeah.
yeah. I think one of the things that I really like, if you think about us as consultants or somebody who works on a lot of SQL queries, what we tend to do is um, we have short snippets of queries, right? You're going to save those queries and we're going to reuse them. If you're working as a consultant, you reuse them in different projects. If you're somebody who is working as a client or analyst at an organization, you're probably going to rerun the same queries, same reports over and over again, right? So what we have given is you can save any of the queries that you write. We have something called as analysis. So you save the queries that you write as analysis, and that gets saved, and you can reuse and rerun that any number of times. And people are going to ask, okay, why can't I just save this as a SQL query and rerun it? What we have also given is you can run that SQL query first time, right? And then you might do some manipulations in the grid. You might apply some filters. You might hide some columns. You might reorganize the columns. So everything that you do in the grid also gets saved in the analysis file, right? It's not just the SQL query that gets saved. And then any of the formatting,
Hmm.
anything that you do in the grid gets saved in the file.
Nice.
So
So
once
it's
you
like a
open it,
metadata. Hmm.
exactly. So once you open it up and run it, you don't need to remember what all you did. It gets
Right.
saved and it's going to bring back the same formatting. So the columns will be displayed in the same order that you rearranged, any filters that you applied. So, you have a query and you wanted to look at, invoices if there are amount due. So you have applied filters in such a way that, and
So
also,
it's like having a reporting tool. Not
right.
it's not just a query tool. Basically,
Yes.
the feature that you are right now saying is I can have my own formatting, which is basically report, right? I mean, I want
Yeah,
this data to be extracted in this format, exactly this format every single time,
exactly.
right?
So
That's
that's a clever way of me putting a strike through on
absolutely
SQL, right? Because
exactly
yes, it does help you with SQL, but it does a lot more than that, right?
exactly.
And we have a lot of features. I'll just go through a couple more of them, which is deep links. It lets you directly go to the transaction pages or Fusion pages. So from the grid, you can now, click and go to the transaction in Oracle Fusion, right? So we have given that. Obviously, it's a small subset to start with, but we're going to expand that into and improve and include more, right? One of the things I like more and is what we call as directives. So directives are my way of helping somebody who doesn't want to write SQL. So let's say you have a SQL query and you want to do some formatting for those, right? So we have something called as hide and show. So on the top of the SQL query, you can provide these directives, and it's going
Mm.
to use those directives. So let's say I
Ah,
write select star from AP invoices all, for example, right? Now I have like I don't know 200 columns that comes back, right? I can specify this show directive and specify let's say 10 columns. So even if you write select star from AP invoices, because I've given that directive that I only want to see 10 columns, it's going to do that for you. I can specify the column order. So, if I have a query in a specific way, but I just want to see the first,
mhm.
maybe the columns in a specific sequence, I can specify that. Then I can specify the format. So a lot of things that we have given to make it easy for the user to work with SQL, right? Uh,
Nice.
yeah, so that's another
Cool.
one.
Mm.
Yes. We feel things like in Toad and SQL Developer, you have short codes. You could write SSF and tab out, and it'll do select star from. So we have given that option. You can define your own. Um, and what else? The grid is very, very powerful. Lots and lots of features. We've given two main things that I want to highlight is you can do top N and bottom N. So, you could write a query, the data comes back in the grid. You can write, okay, show me the top 5 vendors based on the invoice amount. Show me the bottom 5 based on, I'm saying 5, but you could do 20, 30, whatever. So those kind of features. We have also something called as duplicates. So once you get the data in the grid, you can find duplicates. You specify the columns, a combination of columns, and it's going to find those duplicates for you, right?
Just one thing that came to my mind. This is going to be a very powerful data analysis tool. It's not just a query tool or reporting tool, right? Why do you run a report? Why do you need data? You finally do a lot of these things. Probably people do it in Excel, or probably people do it in Power BI, or God knows, like many tools they might be using. This is like one-stop shop for all of those things. It's really
Exactly.
cool. Yep.
Exactly. And we have formula columns. Okay. So in the grid, you can now add additional columns, formula columns. So I'll take a example, very simple example. Say you have invoice amount and amount paid. So you want to take that and build amount due or balance amount, right? So you could take invoice amount, subtract the amount paid, and you get the balance due. So even if it's not in the SQL result that you get, you can now add that formula column and define that formula, right? So that is also powerful. And this also gets saved in the analysis file that I was just mentioning. So once you add the formula column, it gets saved in the analysis file, and then you can rerun this, any number of times. So we're going to expand it to, compare dates, strings, and also we're going to include conditional formatting. So those are a few things that we are currently working on. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of features. One thing that we are trying out now is as a business user, you may not know or want to write SQL. So we have an option called Insights. It's currently in testing. Insights lets you, similar to what OTBI is about, right? It's actually answering questions, right? It's not meant for running huge amount of data extracts. So Insights is a feature that would let you do that, and the user doesn't need to know any SQL.
Query behind it, yeah.
They can select the fields that they want, and obviously we have limited it to certain use cases. I'm working with few vendors like my friend Ikansh from Arcturus. He's more on procurement, so I've been asking him about, hey, what are the type of questions users ask in procurement, right? And we're going to embed those questions into the Insights feature. So basically, like if you want to see open invoices from the last 30 days, right? You can use that Insight feature, and you specify. And when I say 30 days, it's based on the number of days. So you can say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever. So as long as you give that, it's going to give you the option to select the specific fields you want to see and then execute it, right? So it's not even SQL, right? There's no need for me to know SQL. And this is most useful for business users. Obviously, IT folks can use it, but yeah. So I was inspired by Vinod. He has a tool. I've used PyCube a lot. One of the inspirations of creating this tool, right? Yeah, very excited.
I've read about that in one of your blogs where you had mentioned that about PyCube and all. That's how I came to know about it. I've not tried it, but I've seen some information about it. It looks cool. And that one is
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. So yeah, we do have version for Windows and Mac. So if there are Mac users, they can also use the tool. Yeah, obviously it's not free, as I would just say, because a lot of time has gone into this. Yeah, that's it about data collage, and yeah, we've been slowly building things.
I look forward to using this. I'll contact you for a exclusive access. I'm kidding. Yeah.
All right. So that's everything we wanted to talk about. Anything else you wanted to cover? Maybe something for new Oracle ACEs. What are the things that they could do? And one of the things is obviously new folks who wants to come into Oracle Ace program, we could share some tips for
Certainly.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly. So I'll tell you one thing. So I've been unofficially guiding some people in my company and on my client side or in general, basically, they were interested in getting into the program and they were like, okay, what should I do? They got into the first thing is they got into apprentice program. And so if anybody wants to really start this journey, they can, apply for the apprentice. And if they get approved, then you really start your journey. And the good thing is the ACE program managers, they guide you very nicely how you can progress through the apprentice journey. That's what I've seen with these new people who are coming into the program. And then that guided journey, they tell you you have a variety of choices that you can do. You can write even small blogs, and it doesn't have to be thorough
Mm,
technical blog.
mm,
It doesn't have to be very step by step process kind of blog. It could be, I came to know about something new. Here is a small blog about it.
right.
So yeah, and then or just as we were saying earlier, Cloud Customer Connect. That's definitely one thing. Other Oracle forums. But I still definitely recommend people for going for blogs for sure, because blog is one thing that if you're fresh and you have done something new very freshly and it is fresh in your mind, you can just jot it down and it's right there. And technically, if you ask me, it's really a good notebook for yourself. I look at
Mhm.
it like that because I many times I go back to my own blogs. I'm not saying every blog that I've written is like super or great or anything. There are even tiny blogs, just 2 paragraphs, but that's just a tip and trick kind of blog that I wanted for myself. And I didn't want to maintain it in some notepad or some notebook which is not accessible to me all the time, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes I typically go back to either my blogs, of course, your blogs, many other people that I have subscribed to, because I know that that problem, was solved, and I know it's on Arun's blog.
Mhm, yeah.
Simple reference for me. So it's a two-way thing. It's not You're not only doing it for getting into the program, of course, but it's going to help you as well as others in many ways
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
tell me this, how many times have you run into an issue, you searched for that in Oracle, and you found that, oh, you know what? I've written about this long time
Yes.
back, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
It does. It does.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I
That's
think,
true.
yeah. I think if you're in a city or a location where you have in-person meetups, I think that is going to be really, really helpful. And one thing I would say is, a lot of people has this, I don't know, hesitation about, presenting at conferences and things like that, right? I always say this: if you know something, you know it better than who is in the audience, right? And as long as you
Certainly.
know what you're doing, you should obviously know what you're talking about. As long as you know that, there's no reason to be afraid. I remember my first time doing Michigan Oracle User Group. This is back in 2014.
Hmm.
I was very nervous. That was my first time doing it. But then I realized that midway through the talk I was presenting, everybody's listening to me, and yeah, I know this better than who is in the audience, so I don't need to worry about this.
If you
Yeah,
have the right and good content, you don't have to be afraid of presenting it at all. The content itself will, take care of all your fears, right? I mean, because you have so many things to share, and it's just a matter of sharing it with people. So,
yeah,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Yep.
And this was an absolute pleasure, Amod, chatting with you about this. We should come back and talk about Apex sometime,
Yes, we should.
and maybe show a short demo of Private Agent Factory.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
I'll try to build an end to end real business case that so that it's more relatable.
Mhm.
It was absolutely my pleasure. A really good discussion, certainly, for sure.
Yeah, it's a friendly chat.
Yes.
Thank you, Amod, for
Oh,
your
that's
time.
cool. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Arun.
Take
Mhm.
care.
Take care.